So today we're going to talk a little bit about the next of the major arcana, which is the Empress. So far in the major arcana, you see a progression in the first three cards, the Fool, the Magician, and the High Priestess, of the initiate entering the temple, receiving initiation, and looking upon the veil of the divine. So these are the first three steps into the temple. The next card and the next set of cards represent, after those first three steps, taking a step to the side, where here you are stepping aside from the spiritual and reconnecting to the material. And the first of these is the Empress. I hope you can see it clearly there. The Empress card, the very name of the Empress card brings up the notion of material power or material authority. She's the Empress, the Queen. And yet the card is a very spiritual card. And the symbolism of the Empress is all about taking that energy of initiation, that experience that you've had, and now presenting it to the world. In the Empress card, if you see, the Empress has been transformed by her experience. It might be a little hard to notice, but there are some ethereal wings on the side of on her back, and she has now become someone who has awakened into a spiritual creature that incorporates the elemental forms. Her hair has become like fire, and her clothing is like water, and she has the elemental air of the wings, and in her hand she has a rod of her authority, which is a symbol of the earth. And indeed, the rod looks like the earth with a cross above it. And of course, the cross was a spiritual symbol in the culture where the tarot comes from. So the cross over the earth is a symbol of connecting that spiritual experience to the material world. And in the front of her dress, you can see she has three alchemical symbols. And you'll recall when I was talking about the High Priestess, that after the Magician, which represents the four elements, the four worldly elements, the High Priestess has, as part of her symbolism, the three elements of alchemy, which are these spiritual elements, you could say. And here, the Empress has those three symbols, salt, sulfur, and mercury, in her very body, in her dress. And she is taking those back with her into the world. So this is a card about taking action, bringing your spirituality into your material life, which is the necessary next step. The necessary next step is not, you can't keep going forward into the temple until you've taken this step to the side. If changes are happening only inside of you and you're not manifesting them on the outside of you, which is what the Empress is about, then there's nowhere further for you to go. So the Empress represents manifesting that energy of initiation, manifesting that energy of the divine into something that is not just internal, but also external. The Empress card requires that you have a balance between your inner and your outer self. It's saying you can't just have change going on in the inner self. You have to show it into the world, and you have to present it to the world around you. Because if you don't do this, then what's inside of you is an illusion. What's inside of you hasn't really changed anything. And if it is a sincere change inside of you, then resisting showing it on the outside is going to be something harmful to you. It's going to consume you. There's a gospel, an apocryphal gospel, where Jesus says that what you have within you, if you do not bring it out of you, it will destroy you. And that is very much the meaning of the Empress card. So you bring it out, and then by bringing out, you move on to create change in the world, which is what the next card, the Emperor, is about. The Emperor and the Empress go very connected to each other. So I can't say very much more about the Empress without going on to talk about the Emperor, which will be the subject of our next video on the tarot.